Hello, my name is Vikas Pota. The reason why we're organizing this global showcase for World Education Week is we believe that schools have incredible expertise in making sure that learning outcomes improve. Given the state of the world, we want to see the expertise from this particular school being replicated in schools all over our planet so that the world becomes better for everyone. That is why I congratulate this school for what it does and hope that those listening can take away conclusions as to how they should actually approach their own improvement journeys. Thank you all for participating, and I look forward to seeing you in many of the other events this coming week. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors for supporting this incredible work, without whom we couldn't have put together this global showcase. Thank you, and I wish you well for this event.
Fast-paced social, economic, and technology-driven change is redefining our world. And having a broad range of skills, such as creativity and problem-solving, has become far more important than being able to memorize information. To redefine how our children learn, and to empower them for the future, parents, teachers, and policymakers must stop overlooking a powerful part of the solution: learning through play. Play is the rocket fuel of child development, and there is a growing body of evidence to support that play is fundamental for children's positive growth and well-being over time. It is also an essential way to foster the skills required to thrive in today's world. The LEGO Foundation aims to build a future in which learning through play empowers children to become creative, engaged, lifelong learners. To do so, we work with a range of partners around the world to change the hearts and minds of all of those who influence children's lives through our programs, research, and advocacy, so they can all embrace the transformative power of play. Examples of what we do include making sure that caregivers, practitioners, and policymakers understand the importance of play, investigating, testing, and scaling new ways to bring play-based learning into homes and schools, using play to help millions of the world's most vulnerable children cope with adverse childhood experiences and toxic stress, or conducting research with some of the world's leading research institutions. Please visit our website and follow us on social media to learn more.
Language connects us all. It's how friendships are formed, ideas are shared, and lessons are learned. Language is how we find understanding and express love. It's how we communicate our successes, both big and small. It lays the groundwork for learning and growth. And for an increasingly diverse student population, it can be the key to achievement in school and beyond. That's why Rosetta Stone Education is dedicated to language and literacy. We offer solutions designed to support teachers and their emergent bilingual students, recognizing and celebrating the knowledge, culture, and languages they bring to our classrooms. Our products are founded on the adaptive blended learning model for individual needs, continuous progress monitoring for better learning outcomes, and culturally responsive pedagogies for more inclusive classrooms. With solutions aligned with proficiency standards, we support language learning while exploring academic subject areas, paving the way to better outcomes. Because for all of us, language is everything.
Dear T4 community, We talk a lot about teachers these days, but we rarely listen to them. Therefore, I am truly excited to join the T4 World Education Week to hear from teachers and school leaders all over the world how we can impact learning together. I am particularly looking forward to the global showcase. 100 schools sharing their expertise and best practices, I believe, will be a huge motivation for other schools around the globe. I'm equally impressed by the T4 Solutions Challenge, its finalists and their solutions to real-world issues in education. This gives me hope that we can, together, turn around education globally. The Jacobs Foundation is a proud supporter of the T4 World Education Week because we share a vision to reimagine learning and education by bringing together the brightest people who understand how children learn. Let's do this together.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our T4 World Education webinar from Manar Modern School. You have seen a short video about T4 team and sponsors who did a great job to make this event happen. Now, we would like you to get introduced to Manar Modern School through this video. يسعد مساكم جميعا وأهلا وسهلا فيكم. شفنا من لحظات فيديو تعريفي عن فريق عمل T4 واسمحوا لنا هلا نعرفكم أكثر على مدرستنا من خلال هيدا الفيديو.
I created this boat out of modeling clay, and now we're going to test it out to see if it floats or not. So it floats by itself and solve or reduce the impact of such issues, another suggestion is a plastic where pictures that float and chemicals into higher gas that is converted to electricity and heat. Another outcome is when a plastic with these plastic provides shape, which is used as a brilliant plastic bedding for animals. Another suggestion also takes sewage, turn it into biogas.
بسهلك بحبك تسأل شو بني وشو اللي ما بني بحبك يا لبنان يا وطني عندك بدي ابقى ويغيبوا الغياب اتعذبوا اشقوا يا محلى العذاب عندك بدي ابقى ويغيبوا الغياب اتعذبوا اشقوا يا محلى العذاب واذا انت بتتركني يا اغلى الاحباب الدنيا بترجع كذبي وتاج الارض تراب إذا أنت بتتركني يا أغلى الأحباب وبيعزك بحبك، بفقرك بحبك وبيعزك بحبك. أنا قلبي عقيدي لينساني قلبك، والسهرة عبابك أغلى من سني، وبحبك يا لبنان يا وطن.
Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining the T4 World Education webinar in Manar Modern School under the title Reinforcing Wellbeing and Inquiry-Based Learning Approach Through Distance Learning. I'm Jinan Karami Shaya, the school principal and the moderator of this event. بيسعدنا حضوركم معنا اليوم بمؤتمر T4 العالمي للتربية تحت عنوان تعزيز الرفاهية والتعلم القائم على الاستقصاء من خلال عملية التعلم عن بعد. بعرفكم عن حالي، أنا جينان كرامي شيا، مديرة المدرسة. Let me start with defining COVID-19 distance learning. It's a term that refers to the context of the sudden shift from face-to-face learning into blended learning and online classes without any previous situational planning. It's no doubt the only contingency action that could be done to support parents, guardians in keeping their kids into the process of learning. However, based on the practices during COVID-19 quarantine days in Lebanon, there are many challenges that limit the effectiveness of distance learning. Among those challenges, students' perception of the current situation, which provokes psychological stress and will definitely limit their willingness to fulfill academic assignments. Second, students' lack of organizational skills and being more oriented to chaotic lifestyles. Third, students' reluctance to be autonomous learners. فإذا كلنا بنعرف إنه التغيير المفاجئ والغير مخطط له من التعلم الحضوري إلى التعلم عن بعد بظل ظروف كورونا خلق الكثير من التحديات، وأهمها إدراك التلاميذ للظروف الصعبة، وهذا خلق عندهم إحساس بالتعب النفسي اللي خفف جهوزيتهم واندفاعهم للتعلم. بالإضافة أنه لاحظنا التلاميذ عندهم نقص بالمهارات الحياتية المطلوبة ليكونوا متعلمين مستقلين مثل تنظيم الوقت وغيرها. As well, we should never forget the vision of our education, which is creating a good active citizen who is well knowledgeable with a deeper understanding of sustainable norms, a critical thinker who can make right decisions, a good researcher, an innovator, problem solver, and social entrepreneur, a professional public speaker, and a leader who can develop awareness campaigns and plan strategically and do effective partnerships for implementing sustainable solution. فإذا كمان ما فينا ننسى رغم شعورنا بالعجز ببعض الأحيان والضغط اللي عم نواجهه لتغطية كل المناهج الأكاديمية، إنه هدفنا الأساسي هو خلق مواطن صالح وفاعل، بيتميز هذا المواطن بمعرفته للمعايير المستدامة، بتفكيره النقدي وقدرته لاتخاذ القرارات الصح، باحث مبدع بحل المشكلات وتطبيق الحلول العملية، أكيد بيتحلى بالريادة الاجتماعية، متحدث ومناقش ماهر، وقائد ومخطط استراتيجي قادر على إحداث تغيير إيجابي بوطنه. This vision must be integrated into curriculum content, distance learning strategies, assessment, extracurricular activities, and parents' involvement. وأكيد هيدي الرؤية قابلة للتحقيق إذا طبقناها مش بس بدمجها بمحتوى المناهج، بل كمان بالاستراتيجيات التعلمية الفعالة والتقييم الغير تقليدي والأنشطة اللاصفية والشراكة مع الأهل. It's our pleasure as Manar Modern School team to share with you our expertise in overcoming our challenges effectively. Let me introduce our panelists. Mrs. Rita Milan, the head of Learning Difficulties and Professional Development Department. Mrs. Haifa Sarieddin, the head of KG Department. Mrs. Hilda Albanna, the head of Science Department. And Mrs. Sarah Abelmona, the head of Social Science and American System Department. Kindly remember the hashtag World Education Week, and don't forget to drop us your questions in the Q&A to be answered by the panelists later on. Kindly note that we will send you through the chat box some useful links to replicate our practices. فإذا اسمحوا لي أعرفكم على الخبراء اللي رح يكونوا معنا اليوم. السيدة ريتا ميلان مسؤولة قسم التطوير المهني وقسم الصعوبات التعلمية، السيدة هيفا سري الدين مسؤولة قسم الروضات، السيدة هيدا البنا مسؤولة قسم العلوم، والسيدة سارة أبي المنى مسؤولة قسم العلوم الاجتماعية، قسم المنهج الأجنبي. وما تنسوا تكتبوا أسئلتكم على Q&A وتتابعونا على الشات بوكس، لأنه رح نواكبكم بأمثلة على الشغل اللي عم نعمله من خلال روابط إلكترونية. وهلا our first panelist, Mrs. Rita Milan. She holds a BA in English Literature and a teaching diploma. She is a specialized educator in learning difficulties and a certified trainer. She works not only to develop the students' academic skills, but also their characters as well. Mrs. Rita, the floor is yours.
Good evening again. And now let me tell you, how did we address our vision and create a safe learning environment where all students can thrive? By adjusting and renovating the curriculum. We have attuned the scope and sequence of our curriculum, aiming at increasing the variety in teaching, learning, and assessment in order to reach more students and respond to their individual needs. We have adopted the UBD framework, which is the Universal Backward Design. The curriculum is planned backward, from long-term desired results through a 3-stage design process. Understanding here is revealed when students autonomously make sense of and transfer their learning through authentic performance. 6 facets of understanding: the capacity to explain, interpret, apply, shift perspective, empathize, and self-assess can serve as indicators of understanding. Second, we trained the teachers and worked on their lesson plans. Teachers vary their teaching methodologies and activities to increase the students' engagement. Teachers plan learning, which includes participation from everyone and encourages success. They do this by creating an environment which is personalized to students' needs and by talking about learning that focuses on what students can do and what they would like to do next. This is done through tutorials, individual learning plans, and short and long-term goal setting by the learner so that they feel they have ownership of their learning. Third, by establishing an inclusive environment, because we at AMS believe that no child should be left behind. We have supported specific learning differences and modified our activities and assessments based on each student's needs. We have trained the teachers to create a supportive, respectful environment to promote diversity and fairness. We also use differentiated instructions based on the students' learning styles and emotional intelligence. And to create equity in the classroom for everyone, here are a few methods we have implemented. First, variance. We present the same information in different ways for visual, oral, and verbal learners. We use a variety of media. We provide supplemental materials to the lesson plan. We have also adopted the flipped classroom instructional strategy as a type of blended learning to focus on students' engagement and active learning, giving the teacher a better opportunity to deal with mixed levels, students' difficulties, and differentiated learning preferences. We also implemented technology because we believe that technology nowadays is an important pillar in the learning process. Therefore, we trained our teachers through many workshops to use and implement different types of technology in their classrooms. Teachers were trained to use Microsoft Teams as a new learning platform and many other online applications to engage students in the learning process. Teachers also created their own educational videos using Beyond and Plotagon. These videos are available on our YouTube channel. Finally, we use different types of assessments. We have incorporated formative and summative assessments as measurable tools to assess our students' knowledge and performance. Formative assessments give the teachers evidence of their students' current progress to actively manage and adjust the learning process by giving instant feedback. We have used Google Forms mainly as a formative assessment tool, along with Flipgrid, Edpuzzle, quizzes, and Poll Everywhere. We also track students' progress through portfolios and project-based assignments. As for summative assessments, we have shifted our practices and approached summative assessments differently. Our summative assessments became more performance-based, referring to more complex and authentic performances and long-term PBL projects. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Rita, for this comprehensive presentation. I'm going to paraphrase what you've said in Arabic. فإذا حضرتك ريتا ذكرتي عن تصميم محاور في جميع المواد باتباع مقاربة الUPD اللي بتسمح للمعلم إنه يطلع من محتوى الكتاب ويدمج الأهداف المتكررة ببعضها ليعطي مجال لدمج الأهداف ومهارات تعلمية أخرى تخدم الرؤية التربوية بخلق مواطن صالح وفاعل بتعزز رفاهية التلميذ ومرونته بهيدي الظروف. أكيد تخطيط المحاور بتضمن 3 مراحل أساسية. أولاً الأهداف العامة والخاصة والمعارف والمهارات المطلوبة مع الأسئلة الضرورية لتعميق المفاهيم عند الطالب وربطها بحياته العملية. الخطوة الثانية التقييم اللي بيعتمد على تطبيق المهام مثل ما ذكرتي أو التعلم القائم على المشروع اللي من خلاله يطلب من التلميذ إنه يحل مشكلة معينة ووصف الخطة لتطبيق هذا الحل مستخدم كل المعارف والمهارات اللي تعلمها. وأكيد بتم مشاركة روبريكس أو جدول محكات مع التلميذ لمعرفة المعايير المطلوبة. أما المرحلة الأخيرة من التخطيط هي مجموعة الأنشطة التعليمية اللي بيقوم فيها المعلم لتحقيق الأهداف التعلمية مركزاً على جميع مستويات التفكير بتثبيت المفاهيم عند التلميذ مثل التطبيق، التحليل، شرح، التعاطف، اعتبار الأبعاد المختلفة وصولاً للتفكير ما وراء المعرفة. كمان ذكرتي عن تدريب المعلمين على الاستراتيجيات التعلمية الفعالة اللي بتدعم دور التلميذ ليكون دايما فاعل وخاصة في بناء المفاهيم الجديدة عنده، وكمان تسليط الضوء على كيفية تطبيق هذه المفاهيم بالحياة العملية، لأنه نحن كثير بنعرف هون إنه هلأ بالوقت الحاضر بهذا الظرف عم بتركز كثير على الاستراتيجيات التقنية التكنولوجية وعم ننسى شوي استراتيجيات التعلمية اللي هي لبناء المفاهيم. هي أساساً لازم نشتغل على استراتيجيات تعلمية ونفكر باستراتيجيات التكنولوجية اللي بتخدمها ومش العكس. وآخر شيء تدريب المعلمين وتشجيعهم على تطبيق استراتيجيات والتقنيات التكنولوجية والمنصات مثل مايكروسوفت تيمز والتطبيقات الموجودة بأوفيس 365 اللي بتساعدهم تخدم تفاعل التلاميذ معهم عن بعد وحتى ذوي الصعوبات التعلمية من خلال تطبيق التعلم التميزي. Thank you, Mrs. Rita. Our second panelist, Mrs. Haifa Sariyuddin. Mrs. Haifa seeks change and persistence through empowering her KG students' well-being and values in all academic fields and believes that children should learn in a surrounding of joy and merry. Mrs. Haifa, the floor is yours.
Positive evening from AMS. After the school closure and the lockdown of COVID-19, we had to think of a way to reach all the KG students. It wasn't an easy task due to national context. Therefore, prioritizing effective well-being skills, especially at this time, is a must to boost our inquirers' well-being in order to overcome all what is happening around them positively. I take pride in collaborating with a wonderful KG team to advance academic, social, and emotional learning. First, we reoriented our curriculum to get a more rigorous and effective one, focusing on the value and inquiry-based education, using the 6 facets of understanding, as well as implementing well-being skills in all academic fields. A science lesson, for example, about the body parts starts with the facets of explaining, interpreting, and applying the concept of body parts, then moving into the perspective facet where students get the chance to explain which body part is the most important to them and why, proceeding into the safety while introducing the private parts, including the implementation of empathy when talking about people who can be different. In addition, we shed the light on the SEL standards and implement them in all academic instructions and daily interactions, as they are the bedrock of academic and life success. Second, taking into consideration malfunctioning internet, working parents, and encouraging kids' internet safety, we are using both synchronous and asynchronous learning. In addition to Zoom meetings that reinforce and develop social skills and relationship skills and social awareness, we designed blended learning lessons that deploy hands-on activities to promote the target skills through joy. Education without values is like flowers without fragrance. Our summer program extended for 8 weeks and was a maintained well-being program where we revised all the academic standards and integrated values through short story videos prepared by our instructors, from scripts to the videos themselves, using Beyond, Scratch, and Platagon. The program gave students positive directions and reinforced important values and good habits that represent a major watershed in their lives, community, and surrounding. Fourth, we are proudly announcing the launching of our AMSKG High Five Wellness Virtual Club that follows the SEL standards of early childhood education. The club will tackle health, values, safety, and SEL according to our students' needs that were examined in the pre-measurement scale. Students will participate and share different experiences and feelings through a well-designed program that will be applied through daily extracurricular activities. We have started this before in previous activities like Earth Day and Labor Day. Finally, and most importantly, is the outcome. Implementing SDG 17, where educators and parents partner in creating positive relationship and a climate where each child feels connected, cared about, and protected physically and emotionally, has turned our virtual learning into success. Students' well-being wouldn't have been achieved without the student-teacher-parent triangle. We believe that it's an equilateral triangle where all sides have the same importance. Here, I would like to thank all the parents for their precious efforts and for their support. Hard work pays off, and we are repaid when we see our inquirers blooming in a healthy well-being with positive social and self-image. Let's keep our faces to the sunshine and forget about the shadow in order to replace all negative thoughts with positive ones to achieve positive results. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Haifa, for this inspiring presentation. I will paraphrase what you've said in Arabic. مس هيفا، حكيتي عن دمج وتطبيق الأهداف اللي بتخدم رفاهية التلميذ ومرونته وحمايته الصحية والنفسية، وبتعزز عنده القيم اللازمة في المنهج عبر التصميم للمحاور UBD. وهون أعطيتي مثل كيف علمتي موضوع أعضاء الجسم ودمجتي من خلاله الحماية الصحية من أي تحرش وتعزيز قيمة احترام الاختلاف. حكيتي عن اعتماد الصفوف الافتراضية زوم والتعلم عن بعد كمان بطريقة مسلية ومحفزة للتلميذ من خلال جوجل فورمز، وتم تدريب الأهل على كيفية خلق نظام معين لأبنائهم لتيسير عملية التعلم. حكيتي عن اعتماد استراتيجية السرد القصصي من خلال تصميم فيديوهات كرتون بتعزز من خلال المهارات والقيم المطلوبة كالمسؤولية والاستهلاك المستدام وغيرها. واخيرا اكيد بيسعدنا انه نحكي عن خلق نادي لتعزيز مهارات الاجتماعيه العاطفيه لدى التلاميذ الصغار، وهيدا الشيء لزياده المرونه عندهم من خلال انشطه لا صفيه ترفيهيه، واكيد بالشراكه مع الاهل اللي هن بشكلوا بالوقت الحاضر جزء لا يتجزأ من العمليه التعلميه وخاصه بهيدي المرحله العمريه. Thank you, Mrs. Haifa. Now we need to welcome our third panelist, Mrs. Hilda Al-Banna. Mrs. Hilda's main concern is to design an environment that enhances motivation, engagement, inquiry, and autonomous learning, while keeping up with the fast-paced progress in the field of education and technology. Mrs. Hilda, the floor is yours.
Good evening. As we and our students got apart due to COVID-19, we had a communication challenge. We needed to come as one team again. I guess we all had this problem. It was not enough to communicate through social media or any other platform. We wanted to make sure that our students are well motivated, involved, and whether they grasp the concepts well enough. We wanted them to stay focused, to have positive vibes, ensure their well-being. We needed a tool that we can use to teach and evaluate. The solution was through inquiry-based lessons following 5E model. Students received Google Forms that help students to work on their own pace, using materials that are available around them, and do inquiry tasks to explore and achieve the learning objectives. These Google Forms helped us to follow up with the students' attendance and consistency. What were the Google Forms really like? The forms they received started with a scenario, like a question, a picture, or any other material that introduces them to the learning experience and puts them in the mood of, I want to know more. Then they become actively involved in hands-on activities using strategies that address the problems to be solved and related to the objectives. Now, it was our role as teachers to explain the topics through short videos within the form itself. The explanation is next extended to other situations related to their real-life problems. It was a tool to adjust misconceptions too. Although evaluation is a continuous process, the traditional way of evaluation has changed for good. Evaluating remote learners through written online quizzes became useless, since we know that it won't evaluate or measure what it was meant to evaluate. Our students were evaluated through the different performance tasks and projects that linked the concepts to real-life situations. They needed to have a link between the theory and real-life situations and problems. What was the outcome? The outcome was clearly shown through the consistency of sharing their inquiry resolutions through videos. Students seemed through videos they seemed more self-confident, more goal-attaining oriented, and better achievers at their own pace. In the time of Corona, well-being is the main target. Reaching students everywhere is an increasing demand. Helping students attain the concepts through inquiry-based strategy was a solution. Our motto, education for all, was accomplished at the mid of the chaos. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Hilda, for this really hopeful presentation. Let me paraphrase in Arabic. Ms. Hilda، حضرتك حكيتي عن اعتماد مقاربة التعلم القائم على الاستقصاء لتعزيز دافعية التلاميذ للتعلم، وخصوصا بموضوع التعلم عن بعد قد ايه هي تحدي، بس حضرتك حكيتي قد ايه نحن بالمنار قدرنا خطينا هذا الشيء باعتماد تقنية فورمز بكل سهولة، بحيث بمر التلميذ ب5 مراحل. أول شيء الإثارة، بنحط له أكيد وثيقة معينة أو صورة ممكن ممكن هذا الشيء بحفزه يقدر يتحمس يعرف أكثر عن هذا الموضوع. ثاني شيء الاكتشاف، بيكون التلميذ محطوط بسياق اختبار أو تحليل وثيقة معينة كرمال يبني المفهوم بفكره. ثالث شيء أكيد بنقوم بشرح المفهوم من خلال فيديوهات بتعمق المفاهيم أكثر وبتثبت المفاهيم بالمرحلة الرابعة بتطبيق المفهوم بسياق آخر. وآخر شيء التقييم اللي هو كتير مهم، اللي بيعتمد على إمكانية التلميذ إنه يستخدم جميع المعارف والمهارات اللي اكتسبها ليحل مشكلة معينة بمجتمعه أو وطنه من خلال تطبيق المهام. Thank you so much, Mrs. Hilda. We move to our fourth panelist, Mrs. Sarah Abilmuna. Mrs. Sarah fosters a learning environment based on empowerment, creativity, and ethics, and encourages her students to be active, lifelong inquirers. Mrs. Sarah, the floor is yours.
Marhaba. For most of us, teaching has suddenly transformed. Despite these overpowering changes, the very soul of who we are as educators and the importance of student voice have not changed. We at AMS strongly believe that students' voices, when heard, make them more involved. Therefore, we worked accordingly. First, our students had the chance to be part of several reflection sessions, which empowered them with essential life skills, such as acquiring time management skills by teaching them how to be organized and be goal-oriented and write an impactful CV based on their skills, interests, and experience. And one of the outcomes was when our high schoolers took the initiative to raise awareness about COVID-19 and prepared a video, Kermel Min, for whom, and shared it on social media. Second, we designed an entrepreneurship curriculum aiming to raise up resilient lifelong learners and inquirers ready for the work field and to adapt to the current economic crisis. Attaining entrepreneurial skills and setting up a mindset based on creativity and innovation help them identify societal problems and try to find solutions by working in virtual groups to develop business plans. As part of this curriculum, guest speakers like Mr. Joseph Matta and Mr. Amir Saab were invited to share their ideas and skills with our students via Teams. And one of our passionate students, she's only 14 years old. She participated in 2 live pitches, one with Park Innovation and one with Beritech. We also shared with them several free online courses and webinars on WhatsApp, such as from an idea to a successful project by Mr. Antoine Karam, Young Entrepreneur Conference in which Dr. Shaya was one of its speakers, UN75 online consultation that aimed to collect youth voices for which future do we want in Lebanon and others. Third, as a member of Affiliated Schools Network, we've been part of several international projects. We have been chosen among schools as a model school that applies the SDGs. And during distance learning, our students participated in the virtual 2020 International Model United Summer Program organized by UNESCO Center for Peace, Washington, DC, and proudly 2 of our students won the Best Delegate Awards. Fourth, AM students have always been keen on being problem solvers and peace builders. As part of the global generation, they have engaged in many online discussions and international students such as a video conference with Italian students. And these conferences help them improve their communication skills and comprehend body language and facial expressions. During the pandemic, our students virtually discussed internet safety and took the initiative to talk about the impact of fake news on individuals' mental health and well-being. Finally, we've always been told to think outside the box. But this time, our obstacle is no ordinary. The pandemic puts us in a box and behind a screen and urges us to be creative and innovative. We literally seek to make our boxes as interesting as possible. We've adopted several approaches, definitely had our ups and downs during this journey, but indeed, we are still striving to turn our passive learners into active learners. We've used our platforms to the fullest. Students debated, argued, and discussed several topics via virtual breakout rooms on Teams. We've challenged them to be creative as much as they can and encouraged them to share their voices. Yes, we're living in very tight boxes right now, but we must be imaginative within those parameters and be creative in the box. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Sarah, for this heartwarming presentation. Let me paraphrase what you've said in Arabic. Ms. سارة حضرتك ذكرتي عن أهمية تعزيز المهارات الحياتية مثل تنظيم الوقت ووضع الأهداف من خلال لقاءات خاصة قمنا فيها مع تلاميذنا، وكمان حكيتي ولأول مرة بلبنان تصميم منهج لتعليم ريادة الأعمال وتطبيقه، حيث استطاع عدد من التلاميذ ومن بينهم تلميذة بعمر 14 سنة من تقديم دراسة جدوى والاشتراك بمسابقات وطنية وعالمية. أكيد وحكيتي عن اعتماد أنشطة لا منهجية بتعزز تعاطف التلاميذ مع أبناء وطنهم وقدرتهم على المبادرات الفعالة لنشر الوعي والمساعدة واقتراح حلول فعالة. وأخيراً تعزيز ثقافة السلام من خلال تطبيق البرنامج العالمي Global Generation من حيث عززنا في ثقافة الحوار وتقبل الاختلاف والتعبير عن الرأي بحرية. Now it is the questions time. We are going to choose some of the questions to ask our panelists. Let me choose Mrs. Haifa. Mrs. Haifa, one of the questions relate to the interaction of KG students with their teachers. Can you please reply on this question?
Considering the kids, we always guide our sweethearts with love. We give them a lot of smiles, applause, respect, joy over their effort. We all know that early childhood education counts on the play-based learning. So our interactive classes are full of excitement, joy, and hands-on. And even according to neuroscience, we all know that strong positive emotions will release dopamine that stimulates acetylcholine and increases the focus attention. That's why our main aim is to surround our students with the joy and merry. And I would like to add something. The way we measure these positivity and the way we measure students' interaction. First, we're measuring them by reflection videos that are sent after virtual classes. We measure them through the positivity, enthusiasm, and the excitement that the students show through the classes, Zoom classes, and through measurement surveys sent to the parents and SEL measurement scales. So the quality of the work and the interaction through synchronous and asynchronous learning helps a lot. Thank you.
Thank you Mrs. هيفا. فإذا Mrs. هيفا ذكرت عن أهمية إعطاء المحبة للتلميذ اللي هي بتخليه أكثر معلق بالمعلومات وبيتفاعل معهم أكثر من خلال لقاءات زوم بالأول، وبعدين صاروا يبعثوا لهم الفورمز، وأكيد هذا الشيء مع التعاون المستمر مع الأهل، وأيموا هذا الموضوع بفيديوهات عم يبعثوهم التلاميذ لمعلماتهم بالديستنس ليرنينج بتفاعل تام. Thank you so much Mrs. هيفا. Our second question to Mrs. Rita. Mrs. Rita, we need to speak about what are the secrets of effective training. And let me ask you more about what do you think the importance of teachers' leadership skills and the clinical supervision of administration?
Yes, Dr. Jinan. Clinical supervision is really important. We believe that offering a safe, positive environment for the teachers will lead to a higher level of performance. Therefore, we've trained our teachers to cope, especially when using technology. Teachers are also motivated and praised for their effective contributions. Our teachers have excelled e-learning. and were able to use online applications and e-learning platforms effortlessly. They were true leaders and could reach every student's need, even from behind screens. We do invest in our teachers and believe in their potential. As for the students with special learning difficulties, many of the accommodations our students need are already provided in the online classroom, and the teachers serve these students through individual or small group interactions using audio and video along with the IEPs. Now let me demonstrate with you an application we use to help students with dyslexia. This application is called Immersive Reader. It is embedded in Microsoft Teams and other Microsoft applications. Now, how does it serve the students with dyslexia? We can adjust the text preferences. We adjust the text size, the font for these students. We also divide the text into syllables for them, the part of speech of every word, and we do show them the labels. And finally, we can also line focus for them in order to read and concentrate on the line we are reading. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Rita, for this helpful application. فإذا Miss Rita حكيت عن أهمية متابعة الأساتذة وعدم تقييمهم بالأول، بتدريبهم قبل تقييمهم، لأنه بالنتيجة الأساتذة أول شيء ما بيعرفوا، بدهم صبر كرمال يتعلموا، خصوصا بهذه الفترة الصعبة. وأكيد حكيت كمان Mrs. ريتا عن التطبيق اللي بيستعمل لصعوبات التعلم اللي هو Immersive Reader، كتبنا لكم إياه بالchat box. Thank you so much, Mrs. Rita. I would like to ask Mrs. Sarah, how are you managing to do cooperative learning in virtual classes?
It's a great question, especially with entrepreneurship. In entrepreneurship, students learn fundamental business and economic concepts. They learn how to explore career interests and opportunities. They also learn how to develop entrepreneurial skills such as team building, problem solving, creativity, and other skills, life skills actually. So during the pandemic, it was too hard to find a way to make our passive learners active learners. We wanted students to interact with us, and as we have mentioned before, we use the platform Microsoft Teams. Unfortunately, Teams does not have yet breakout rooms like other applications such as Zoom. So we managed to create channels via Teams, and students there debated, they negotiated, they brainstormed ideas, they discussed business ideas, recognized business opportunities, and tried to figure out solutions for their society. So it was a great way to solve this problem and have cooperative learning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Sarah. فإذا Miss Sarah حكت إنه هي بتقدر بتقدر تطبق التعلم التعاوني بالأونلاين كلاسز بالتيمز من خلال التشانلز، فهي خلقت تشانلز لمجموعة من الطلاب وكانت قادرة إنه تعمل لهم سوبرفيجن بساعة الأونلاين كلاس، وبهالطريقة بتكون عم بتطبق التعليم أو التعلم التعاوني. Now let me address a question to Mrs. Hilda. Mrs. Hilda, we have a question. How are you implementing STEM in distance learning?
This is our students' passion. Usually, our students apply STEM as it sprouts from their daily life problems, from environmental issues in Lebanon. Like today, for example, we suffered from many forest fires, from our country's conflicts as well. Usually they are keen at finding solutions for these problems through their multiple intelligence, since they work in groups, not individuals. And they have proved that they can find solutions to these problems, and they proved it by winning awards. For example, like grade 9, they won the illness detector, especially we are in the times of COVID-19. And also grade 10, they won a award in what we call مباراة العلوم. It's about attention booster spread. So we apply it through problems that rise from our own society and our own environment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Hilda. As well, I would like to add that whenever you are applying the 5 E's, as you've mentioned, you are relating the scientific concepts that you are explaining to the technology that use this concept, and that's how you are reinforcing these concepts, and the students will relate how to build a certain model through using the scientific concept. فإذا أنا بشكرك مس هيلدا. أكيد حضرتك ذكرتي عن تطبيق الستام، مخربة ستام، من خلال طريقة التقييم اللي نحن بنطلبها من الطالب، اللي هي وضعه بسياق انه بده ينفذ مشروع معين. واكيد ونحن عم نشرح المفاهيم وخصوصا العلمية، دائما بنعمل هيدي العلاقة بين المفهوم العلمي والتقنيات اللي عم تستخدم هذا المفهوم لا تقدر يمشي حالها ولا يقدر التلميذ يستخدمها. Thank you so much, Mrs. Hilda, and our panelists. Now, let me say the 5 steps through which you can replicate our practices, dear attendees. First step, curriculum content, although governed by national and international standards, should be shaped by the learning context while implementing Education 230. فإذا ضرورية دمج الأهداف المطلوبة لتهيئة التلميذ على التحلي بالمرونة اللازمة والقدرة على تخطي واقع الحال بفعالية. Teachers should be well trained to design their unit plans based on the social, economic, environmental, and even political happenings to equip learners with all the needs to overcome his current context. ضرورية تدريب المعلمين على تصميم المحاور عبر مقاربة UBD وعلى الاستراتيجيات التعلمية، ليس فقط على التقنيات التعلمية واستخدام المنصات. The unit plans should definitely involve inquiry-based strategies and the most effective technologies, problem-oriented performance tasks or projects including STEM, learning activities that deepen students' understandings, uncover perspectives, develop empathy, and reinforce the 21st century skills and reach all level learners. And 4, authentic, action-oriented assessments that don't only measure students' knowledge and skills, but as well their attitudes through their decision-making processes and personal reactions towards the context. Consequently, a multidisciplinary approach will be included where all subject teachers will be dealing with the same context, but from their different perspectives, subjects' perspectives. فإذن استخدام التعلم القائم على الاستقصاء والمشروع وحل المشكلات، استخدام استراتيجيات والأنشطة التعليمية أو التعلمية اللي بتعمق المفاهيم عند التلميذ وبتعزز مهارات القرن ال21، وأكيد بتعزز القيم وبتخليهم وبتقدر توصل كل تلميذ بكل القدرات وخصوصا حتى ذوي الصعوبات التعلميه، وبتخليه يستخدم ونحن كمان لازم نستخدم التقييم الغير تقليدي كما ذكرنا من خلال تطبيق مهام ومشاريع اللي بتحدث تغيير ايجابي بالمجتمع. Extracurricular activities must be considered to increase students' empathy and advocacy in their community. الأنشطة اللاصفية كتير مهمة، وخاصة مثل الحملات اللي بتعزز التعاطف مع التلاميذ عند التلاميذ تجاه الآخرين وبتخليهم يكونوا أصحاب المبادرة الدائمة. Increasing the impact of teachers by training them to be leaders. They should enjoy credibility, model values, and sustainable norms, and be aware of all students' needs to maintain his or her well-being. فإذا تعزيز المهارات القيادية عند المعلمين من خلال تدريبهم على أنه يكونوا نموذج صالح للتلاميذ وأنه يطبقوا كل شيء بيقولوه تيصير تأثير المعلمين على التلاميذ بيخترق الشاشات والمسافات. Thank you, dear panelists. Special thanks to Mrs. Ghadia Halal, our technical producer who did a great job to make this a success. A special greeting to Mr. Kamil Makarim, our General Manager and School's Godfather. I would like to acknowledge all Manar Modern School team members who are working hard, adopting all mentioned expertise, and I'm so proud of you all. Thank you, T4 and Mr. Vikas Pota for making this webinar happen. Dear participants, happy World Teachers Day, and thank you so much for attending our webinar. We are looking forward to see you all in other webinars. As well, we will continue our vision in implementing SDG 4 and Education 230. Before we end the meeting, I will ask you to write in the chat box one phrase to express your thoughts, as we will do the same here. As well, we are going to read some of your expressions. فإذا رح ننهي لقائنا اليوم، بدي أطلب من الجميع بيعبر بجملة واحدة عن حاله كتربوي بالشات بوكس، ونحن كمان رح نعمل نفس الشيء. فإذا أنا بالنسبة إلي كلمتي لإلكم: God bless your noble endeavors. You are our leaders.
Never lose hope, guys. We can do it.
Stay positive.
Education for all, at any time, any place.
تحية تربوية ووطنية منا لإلكن.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you all for the very nice comments that we are having here on the chat box. Thank you so much. We still have only 3 minutes to end this webinar. So by going back to the questions, let me reinforce this thing. Although we are working from a distance from our students, it's very important to be leaders, guys, not only educators. كتير مهم نكون قادة، لأنه لنقدر نأثر بتلاميذنا وعن بعد بدنا نكون ناس بنأثر فيهم بصفاتنا وبقيمنا وبإيماننا وبإيجابيتنا وبقدرتنا على نقلهم الرؤية تبعنا as transformative, authentic, and democratic leaders. Thank you so much for being with us, and we hope that it was a beneficial webinar for you all. Thank you.